Yes, we are still on this morning on ITV, your flagship program, and we are cruising on the platform of nationalism and you. Nationalism and you. The spirit of modern Nigeria beckoning on you, children of all Nigerian system, to be alive to the duties and responsibility of nation builder. So I and you, we are community of nation builder. I am Ebenezer Oyetake, your host. The first discussion segment of the program is what we are taking right now, and it dwells on the 2022 expectations. With me to x-ray this morning is a politician, an astute politician, the publicity secretary of the National Rescue Movement. National Rescue Movement is a political party by the name Prince Chinedu Obi. Prince Chinedu Obi, in the characteristic of this program and our ritual, I say, nationalism and you.
It is my duty and responsibility to build, protect, and develop our nation.
Very well. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you, sir.
2022. The president said that we should be filled with hope, embrace it with hope, and envision a progress from where we have been coming. What are the expectations? What should we be expecting?
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother Ebenezer, for inviting me again. And thank you, Nigerians. And we welcome 2022 and pray and hope that 2022 is a wonderful year for all of us. What sustains every human being is hope. Once you lose hope, a man is gone. But once there's hope, there's life. So the moment anybody loses hope, either as an individual or as a nation, the person is finished. So for 2022, one of the things that I think that Nigerians should expect is that to be hopeful and expect a better 2022 and believe that once we lose that hope, we're gone. You remember in 1993 when the Abiola and Tofa government came on board, the only thing they promised Nigerians was hope, Hope 93. And you saw the way Nigerians resonated with the hope and followed
the
for the first time.
Prospect of hope.
For the first time, they didn't care about the Muslim ticket, and they came out in mass and voted the Abiola government. Unfortunately, that system was truncated. In any case, hope is what sustains us. So this year, we're hopeful. Even though, yes, if you look at the situation of the country, you might think that there's no reason to have hope. The issue of insecurity, the issue of unemployment, the issue of inflation, so many issues that ordinarily if you look at, you think that we've lost it. But here, as human beings and as a nation, even when the system is failing us, as individuals, we need to also build our hope and begin to think about how we sustain and keep hope alive as we move on in the nation. So I should think that 2022, with the right things put in place, Nigerians expect to see a better days ahead.
The president talking about the progress that has been made, building upon the progresses that have been recorded in various sectors. One of the areas he highlighted is that the Nigerian economy is no longer tossed here and there by the fluctuation in crude oil prices, and which means Nigerian economy, by his perception, is experiencing a more self-sustainability than crude oil reliant. Do you share this view?
Well, the truth is that over the years, unfortunately, Nigeria has remained a mono economy, depending strictly on the process from our petroleum. Successive governments have made effort to say, okay, we'll shift to go to other sectors, and most of the times agriculture is mentioned. If you listen to the president's interview with channels, he kept talking about the 2.5% arable land only cultivated over time. It's shocking that in his own analysis, he's only realizing that lately. He's been president, he's been head of state before, he's been president for the first 4 years and almost ending a second term. One expected that statistic should have been something readily available to him, particularly even from the point of campaign when we said we're going to build the economy. Building the economy would require a multi-level approach. It wouldn't have been relying on one mono economy to build an economy. One that expected that agriculture, which even the party identified, would have been something they would have been more holistic about, and realize that that's one of the areas that we need to, look into in terms of generating more revenue for the country. Even the efforts in that direction have actually not yielded the kind of result you expected it to reach, particularly with the issue of insecurity that has been on in the last of course, before his administration, but of course now gotten to the level that Nigerians have never witnessed in the recent past. With the level of insecurity, you have bandits all over the place, Boko Haram ravaging, and of course, before now, the north seemed to be the agricultural belt of the country, and you'd notice, if you look at the northwest over time, banditry has taken place, and with the level of banditry, how do you expect agriculture to take place? These guys are in the bush, farming take place in the bush, and you expect that so much will not happen in that direction. And of course, you've seen the consequence in the rise of cost of items in the market. Every food item in the market today has gone too high. We made a lot of noise on the progress we made in rice production. What was the price of rice before this administration? What is the price today? Because one thing is to even produce the rice, and the next thing is how much is it sold in the market? Is the common person able to buy? So I think that so much has not done in terms of diversification of our economy. Most policy thrusts of this government sometimes even work against the plan to diversify the economy. If you want to deal with security, for instance, and we're not holistic about it, and knowing that nothing seriously can happen if you're looking about foreign investment, either direct or indirect investment, you need to do it in a very conducive social environment. And you're not providing that enabling environment, how do you expect it to happen? So I think the economy is still suffering because there's so many things to be done across board that have not been done to promote inclusivity in trying to expand our economy.
Progressing from there, we also witnessed that probably the president may not be far from the truth, looking at it from the fact that the crude oil prices within this pandemic of COVID-19 dropped to somewhere $10, $12 before it began to rise again and things of that nature. And yet all bills are being paid. All bills are being paid. No resonant cries of unpaid salaries across the countries and things of that nature. And that, don't you think the president in a way is right that the diversification, though we are not where we ought to be, has made substantial a kind of shock-absorbing power for the Nigerian economy against the monolithic petrodollar that we were accustomed to?
This is not the first time in a Nigerian experience that dollar prices have gone down. We've had experience before where dollar prices actually went down and the country moved on. In my last appearance on this studio, I told you sometimes it's not even about the little resources that we get. The management of it is very important.
But during those period, we were selling crude oil for $130, $142, average of $100. Then we were borrowing to pay salaries, resonant unpaid salary in over 29 states of the Federation. Don't you think, irrespective of the challenges, we are not where we ought to be, but the little we have achieved in the areas of diversification of economy, don't you think the economy is in the right direction?
In the spirit of giving hope to Nigerians, I would say yes, but because we need to have that hope to go on. But otherwise, in reality, economy, for me, when economists tell you, we're having economic development, there's progress in the economy, my very layman understanding of it will be translated on how the man on the street feels it. If the economy is the type that Nigeria today is called the poverty capital of the world, you can understand that no matter how much progress economically in terms of your books you've made, in reality, in practical terms, the average man on the street has not felt it.
But many Nigerians also felt that as a result of the pandemic, you see people crying on the street of United States, which is the largest economy in the world, on the street of United Kingdom, due to the economic impact of the COVID-19 and things of that nature and the rest of it. Why do you think our own should be different?
You'll be
when
comparing
you talk about
apples and bananas. To be honest with you, I don't like when you're comparing economies like the US and Nigeria. You'll be insulting the US. In the US, persons during the pandemic in their homes received goodies from the federal government. The US had paid all sorts of American citizens. Find out, look at your statistics, how many times they've gotten payments from the state, the federal government for the pandemic. So don't compare Nigeria and America in that case. What do we have here? You saw a period where even the little effort government were packed in warehouses. Which social investment?
We have
packed in
social
warehouses
investment program
that
interventions.
It took NSAS for Nigerians to know that there were even some materials procured in this country.
But that is a political problem. That is a problem of the politicians. The politicians hoard it. The government has purchased it. They have warehoused it. They have instructed for distribution.
Nigerians have carried their collective will and responsibilities and handed over to the politicians. So
why will the politician hoard that which has been provided by the government?
That is the character of politicians that we have today, and which is why we challenge Nigerians that as we're even entering an election year, we should look down and look at the kind of politicians who will give responsibilities to be in charge of leadership. Because, like I always argue, leadership is everything. The moment we lose it from leadership, we'll get back to the days of Huban in the animal farm.
Now, again, taking extreme expectations from Nigeria. Nigerians are afraid that political promises to them, a better life promises to them, may suffer a setback in year 2022 because focus and attentions will be diverted to politicking and electoral issues rather than governance. Do you share this view?
Very well. I didn't want to, because we're trying to give Nigerians hope. I didn't want to say if the APC government has spent 7 years in power and we are where we are today, I don't expect so much to happen in the next 1 year. But of course, because we're giving hope, we're trying. Otherwise, the better part of the tenure had gone. In the next 1 year, what you hear is politicking. Everything, like you heard the president tell you during the interview that the moment I even mention my successor now, they will eliminate him. So everything now is politics. If there's anything maybe Nigerians will expect is that those monies...
Is this supposed to be so? Aren't we supposed to govern to the last day of our...
Ideally, that is what governance should be. From the moment you took off, you have drawn up your plan of what you would do in year 1, year 2, year 3, and so on. But that is not usually the case. The issue you will now hear is convention there, primaries there, politicking. It's been the character of our political process, and unfortunately too. But I think that Nigerians should begin to think about taking their own, loss into their own, and rather than leaving politics to politicians. For me, politics is a very serious business to leave in the hands of politicians alone. Time has come when Nigerians themselves can say, look, for you to sit in this seat, you have to show the competence required to be in that seat. Whatever you promise us, you should be able to do it right. you've seen era of where a political party will come and say to Nigerians, this is what I will do for you when we get to power. So on the basis of that, Nigerians will vote for them. When it comes to implementation, the same persons will begin to ask you the definition of what they had promised to us. Like today, you hear people no longer understand the meaning of restructuring, which was a promise of the APC government to the Nigerian people before they were elected into power. But today, APC will ask you the definition of restructuring. They promise economy. You can see where our economy is, the poverty capital of the world. They promise security. Today, people can't go to their villages.
Don't you think that describing Nigeria the poverty capital of the world is unrealistic? Because Nigeria remains the largest economy in the continent of Africa. Don't forget that some years ago, Nigeria was number 3rd, moved to number 2nd, then moved to number 1st, and it has consistently maintained this margin as number 1st economy in the continent of Africa. So, how can you justify the description that Nigeria is the capital of poverty in the world, when many African countries even come to buy our grains, farm products, and rice? Some people have also contended that the reason why the rice we are selling in Nigeria are at astronomical rate is that Central African Republic and other countries are coming to buy our rice and they preferred it and things of that nature. Do you think we justify in that claim?
I don't think I like it when statistics is in our favor. We embrace it and jump over a good one. For instance, when they say Nigeria has made progress in reversing corruption, we clap for ourselves. And the same people come up with another statistics that we have done poorly in unemployment or employment. We're angry about it.
But today, but about 2 months ago, Nigeria was described among 25th performing economy in the world. So how do you juxtapose that with your claim of...
I have always said performing economy, if it is in paper and cannot translate to what the man on the street sees, makes no sense to me. Today, statistics says we have over 33% unemployment ratio. Does that not show you poverty already on the face?
6 months ago also, Barack Obama said, I don't know what Buhari is doing differently in Nigeria, that he's still paying bills in Nigeria, when many countries are running away from paying their bills and things of that nature. Can this also be justified?
Maybe Obama does not know that this country is owing heavily, that we have been borrowing in the last, our debt ratio today is almost the highest in Africa. So if we're borrowing to pay salaries, you can see where the country will get to in the next few years.
There is no any indication that we have been borrowing to pay salary, but we have been borrowing to develop infrastructure. That is what we are told. And the ratio to GDP of our borrowing, I think it is
I'm glad
as bad
you
as
said you were told. Otherwise, if the infrastructure is not something you'll be told, it's something you will see. We've had so much noise of our roads done.
The National Bureau of Statistics have also said that our borrowing, juxtaposed with our GDP, we are one of the best in the world in the statistic.
Ebenezer,
yes.
I like statistics, but I like what I can see. If the statistics is good and it's not supported with things that I see on ground, our people don't have jobs to do. 33% unemployment rate. Nigeria has been labeled the poverty capital. Go to the villages. Are you aware that persons who earn, what is our minimum wage in this country? We're still battling around 30,000. 30,000 naira can only buy one bag of rice. How else can you explain poverty? There are graduates in this country. You had the president tell you that you got a degree is not a guarantee you're going to get a job. So we're even telling Nigerians that don't even bother to go to school because we can't guarantee you a job. Let's face the reality so that we can find solutions to it. If we don't identify a problem, you can't solve it. The problem we have identified that there's so much to be done in our country. Let us not, in the course of giving hope to people, give them the impression that this is Uhuru. We're not yet there.
Going forward from there. So what should we be doing
Going
to
forward,
rejig the economy and generate a better hope for Nigeria?
Going forward is simple. Put round pegs in round holes, square pegs in square holes, and that will start with the electioneering process. Today, we're still having issues getting our Electoral Act signed. Electoral Act had said we need electronic transmission of results, which we have seen in Edo, we've seen in Ondo, we've seen in Anambra, that it works. A government that wants to give us a good electoral process would not want to waste a minute about that. Yes, you have back and forth on direct and indirect primaries. The major reason the APC government has not signed the Electoral Act today is because they don't believe in direct and indirect. If Nigerians say that's what they want, I don't see anything wrong with that. And I think direct primaries takes away this overbearing influence of governors on who emerges as candidates of political parties. So I think for Nigeria, that would be the best for us. Sometimes Nigerians will tell you, oh no, it's expensive. What is not expensive? Whatever is worth doing well. I should think the provision of direct primaries, which the Electoral Act has provided, should be signed by the president, because that's what Nigerians want, so that we can now begin to recruit proper persons to deal with Nigerian economy, so that we can recruit the appropriate persons. Nigerians will be willing to say, this man would be good in this place, let's put him there.
But you know that in leadership, sometimes leadership is about taking you to where you ought to be, even when you do not understand that that is where you ought to be, and things of that nature, taking that into consideration. And the government saying that the direct primary will be very expensive, and that it will also challenge the security architecture across and the rest of it. So, taking those into consideration,
what we run
do you think we are well informed about it?
What we run in a democracy is just numbers, what the people want, the wish of the people, not the wish of the leader, the wish of the people.
Okay.
If you're a good leader who knows where you're taking me to, I'll be willing to follow you to where you want to take me to. But over time, we have discovered that some of these leaders rather pursue their personal and parochial interests rather than the collective interest. So in that case, allow us. This is what Nigerians say they want. Give it to us. And I will further say that the National Assembly should not play the politics of making it look as if the president is the problem. The National Assembly has the powers under our laws to veto the president and do the wish of Nigerians. So I should think what we expect in the field is, as part of the hope Nigerians should see, is that the National Assembly should veto the president and have.
Can they get the numbers required to do that?
What they need is 2/3. And well, if they have passed it, if they didn't have the 2/3, they wouldn't have passed in the first place. So if they're not playing politics, this is the time to tell Nigerians that we are your representatives. Pass the law has been passed to the president. And then Nigerians will now begin to think that going forward, we'll have what my party has advocated, voters' revolution, where the people will determine who become their president.
Expectations vis-a-vis security and our farm produce, ability of our people to return to farm en masse. What?
In my earlier remarks, I told you part of the challenges is that all the noise about security, dealing with security, we can't go to the farms. If we want to give hope to Nigerians, yes, a few days, yesterday, or even the news this morning, we heard that bandits for the first time have now been officially declared terrorists, and maybe government can now develop the will to begin to pursue them, because in the next few weeks the rains will come and famine will take place. If the insurgency as it is, people who can't move even the short distance of Kaduna and Abuja are unable to go to farms, then you can see that food security will become a challenge as we move forward. But I think that if enough effort is put, the political will to deal with the security issues, I have always argued that Nigerian security forces have the capacity to deal with these issues if they want to deal with it. That's the only way we can even ensure this food security, that people can go back to farm as it were.
Kinetical engagement of the security forces, of the bandits and the security challenges, our security forces have tried so much in various fronts. Yes, but then, what will you think should be administrative mechanism to help to defeat this? Because even the president in his press briefing, press release, since he did not do the New Year personal broadcast as normal, alluded to the fact that there is necessity for both administrative and some certain givens that can help to defeat the security challenges and things of that nature. Your take?
I agree that you need a multi-approach in dealing with it. The kinetic approach is one. The other one, like the usual carrot and stick approach. While you deal with that, you also find the root causes of this. Some of the root causes: unemployment, value system, religion. When Boko Haram started in the north east, a lot of people, particularly people at the background, were feeling very comfortable that the guys are on the right track, until it started affecting everyone. Because there are some value system attached to it. So we need to begin to deal with those value systems that promote the insecurity we have today, beyond the military approach.
Are the government, are the governors at the state level doing what they ought to do? Because we seem to be centering everything to revolve around president. But we have three tiers of government. Are the governors doing what they ought to do? We
have refused to devolve power to the states. Everything is... You saw what happened in Lagos a few days ago when a governor, the chief executive of a state, is having a dialogue with someone because he came from the federal. You cannot, even as governor, take the appropriate steps you need to take because there's a federal government that is watching you. The solution is restructuring of the country, where we devolve power to the states and local governments so that each one of them would deal strictly.
But many Nigerians will tell you that enough power has been devolved to the state, but the state is not even devolving an inch power to the local government. What do you say about that?
If you give me a goat as present and you tie a rope around it, give me the goat and you're holding the rope. You know, it's when there's power and you don't have the authority, or you have authority, you don't have the power. They have to work together. If we have given a man or an arm of government a responsibility as enshrined by our constitution, we should allow the person to exercise.
Program. Do you think it's a structural or constitutional problem, or the politician problem?
A combination of both. We run a federal system in paper. In practice, it is not done. Why are we talking about restructuring around the issues of fiscal federalism? Federalism as a system of government expects that it should be fiscal. Is that what we practice? We don't practice it. So we choose the areas that benefit, are suitable to us, and implement the ones that are not suitable to us. Under
the military administrations, because all of us have been people that have seen history. Under the military administrations in the past, all the local government area councils in the countries were functioning. Why is it that the politician came and you killed the local government system?
Take it or leave it. The military is a more disciplined institution. Don't take that. That's if you have everything against the military, you can't take discipline away from it. And which is why, if you notice, most times today, a lot of people will tell you that most of the facilities you see today were built by the military. You know, even though it's not the best form of government, but we are more disciplined.
What we are operating, government of the people, by the people, and for the people, and the people we voted to come and govern us decided to render many areas ungovernable.
That's the problem. That's the problem. We politics by the people, for the people, in paper, not in practice. So if it is in paper,
talking about
the people will not want A and you want to give them B.
So talking about hope and expectations, what would be your message to Nigerians, the message to the government, and message to yourself as politicians?
Message to Nigerians is that we have yet another opportunity to decide those who will govern us. Take the bull by the horn. First, let me appeal to politicians, particularly those in National Assembly and the President, to leave a legacy. This APC government have just one more year to prove to Nigerians that the promises they made to us in 2015 is real. So they can still give us those things they promise to give to us. If they don't, Nigerians, you have opportunity. That's why we want a good electoral process that gives us opportunity to choose our leaders. I believe that since we have the power to hire and fire, if we're not doing very well, we'll fire you. We've done it to PDP. If we can do it to APC, they will learn. Then Nigerians will begin to realize that the power is in their hand. By the time we keep changing them, they will know the power actually belongs to the people, and they will give us the right thing to go. So Nigerians, the power is in your hand as we approach 2023, that we begin to elect persons from the grassroots, from council, House of Assembly, chairmanship, governorship, House of
Thank you very much. It has been wonderful having you, and it is always a pleasure having you on this show, Nationalism and You. Nigerians, you have heard us. Do not lose hope. 2022 is just beginning. And with our government, we know that even with our support to them, we can create a better Nigerians. Let us all consider ourselves as collectives of nation builders and do the right thing in order to crystallize that manifest destiny of a Nigerian nation that cares for all and all cares for her. I remain your host, Ebenezer Oyetakin, but don't change the channel, because we will be transiting to the second segment of discourse on nationalism and you. Thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Nigerians.